South Sydney showed on Saturday night how much they enjoy a rare trip to the Sydney Cricket Ground by defeating traditional rivals, the Dragons. In doing so, moving themselves into the top four. Leading the way in more ways than one, there's skipper Greg Inglis, who looks very schmick tonight, obviously in the GI clothing range. Hello, Greg.
Hello.
The win Saturday night looked like it was more like we expect from South Sydney. What pleased you most about that performance?
What pleased me, like looking from the back, was just the boys in the front line, the defensively. You know, defensively we turned up for each other for 80 minutes. And that's something we've been building on, something that we worked for us last year, but we know what happened last year is not going to obviously work this year. So we've got to continue to build that, keep building on it. Usually
players coming out of Origin, we kind of expect them to be a little bit fatigued, you know, both mentally and physically. I've got to say, in your last couple of performances, and even through Origin, you actually look fresher and freer than maybe we saw at stages earlier in the year. Is that how you're feeling?
Yeah, that's definitely how I'm feeling. I'm just taking a more relaxed approach to a game, sitting back and just letting other boys around me, like our halves, are, doing a lot of talking, a lot of structural work with their forwards, and it just takes me back to, I can narrow my focus on just what I have to do for the team, and that's just play footy. And obviously coming out of the Origin period, we've got great people in place there that gave me those time off, days away from the club, and mentally refresh the body.
Hey, GI, whenever the NRL talks about player burnout and all that kind of stuff, your head seems to pop up, because of the amount of games that you're asked to play with Australia and Origin, and obviously with South Sydney. Are you worried about your longevity in the game? Are you getting enough rest from South? It looks like you've come out of Origin unscathed, but sometimes during the year, your consistency, people might be saying you're going down a bit, and then you seem to come up. So how are they treating you there, and what's your thoughts on, just with the amount of time you get off at the end of the year?
Yeah, look, it's obviously, we have one of the toughest competitions in the world that I see anyway. And I love this game and I love the competition, and, you're always going to get that, a bit of inconsistency throughout the season with, individual players. But, I'm fortunate enough and lucky enough that I've got great people around me at the clubs that, that gives me the time off that I need. The first time in about 4 years I've rang up and asked for a day off just after the last Origin, and they said, yeah, go do it. And I was, like I said, I was lucky enough for that to happen. And
be making more phone calls like that.
No, I think you could have hit 100 in the bank.
I think it's just I love the game. I love playing it. Yeah. I love coming to train. I love seeing the boys. I love being around the club.
What about the elite athletes like yourself, JT, Cameron Smith, that play every single game? Do you think there should be, if you reach that sort of level of stature in your game, obviously we get the 6 weeks mandatory. Do you find that if you even had 10 weeks off, you could come back and still be the player that you are?
Oh, look, last year I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to have the 9.5 weeks off. And I came back, pretty much in better shape, better fitness,
so that's a yes.
Mentally fresh, fit, body felt fine. And, we were just talking at the back there that, I think the new players that come on board, the players you sign up, maybe 6 weeks mandatory, this is what I like to see. Then the second tier players that's been around for, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, you get the 8 weeks, and then, like you said, the elite, maybe 10.
All right,
and then go from that. But, that's obviously the NRL too.
Yeah. Let's get into this season. The captaincy. You've come out in recent times saying that you maybe let it get to you a little bit and that you're concerned about everyone else and maybe not about your own game. Fortunately, your wife came out and said, wake up to yourself, get back to it, enjoy it. Did you find it a little bit tougher than maybe what you're expecting?
You're not the lone ranger.
Story of all of our lives.
Yeah, look, it's, I was cheering and, obviously getting handed the captaincy. I still look to Sato for a bit of advice, and, obviously we got Glenn Stewart there as well, and, he's been around the traps for a long time, and, just get different opinions. But, what really works for me is what really works for me is going back and sitting back, relaxing, and thinking, having a clear head and going to a game, and not really worried about what's going on left and right. And even though I said that article, it's pretty much not what I intended about it. I love the captaincy. I love leading the team out there, and like I said, I was going to go back and enjoy my footy.
What went through your head, Greg, when the club announced that Isaac Luke, who's obviously been a huge part of South Sydney for many years now, was going to be moving to the New Zealand Warriors next season?
Yeah, look, Isaac's been, part of South for a very long time. And, to see him move on to go back to be closer to his family, was quite a big decision for him. But for him to do that and be over there closer to his family, it's, I can't question that at all, what his motivations are behind it, because, Isaac looks a big family man, and to see him go is going to be a big loss for us. But in saying that, we have a young guy coming through in Cam McGuinness, so, whether he stays there or not, we've got Jason Clark there as well who can play hooker. So we still got to, once he goes, well, then we'll figure it out. But obviously, you all know we re-signed signed on Paul Carter.
Yes.
And Paul Carter's, he's been there working within our system and, just getting a lot of training on his belt.
So he came down obviously mid-season from the Gold Coast, had some issues up there off the field. Do you think this man here can play a role for you in some shape or form in the next couple of months?
Oh, most definitely. He came down with a clear mind and, he really wants this. And, he really wants to forget what's happened in the past and move on to his next chapter in life. And, he seems happy around training. He's doing all the little things right. He sticks in the right boxes out training and, whatever, the team or coach asks for him, off him, he's doing it.
All right, well, you're part of a big Super Saturday again this weekend. In fact, it's a Super Saturday that features a couple of games played over in New Zealand. The first of those, the Warriors up against the Seagulls. You'll see it on Fox from 2:30. That's at Mount Smart Stadium. Then the Storm take on the Dragons at 5:30pm. That game at McLean Park down in Napier. And finally, the Rabbitohs take on the Knights, 7:30 at ANZ Stadium. And that's followed by Super Saturday full-time with Shervo, Lara, Gaz and Braith. After that match. Newcastle got a win last week. They'll have a little bit of confidence up. A game you're expected to win. What are your thoughts on it, quickly?
Yeah, they just come in and play a nice style of footy. They shift side to side. They just play footy. And, they showed really good signs against Canberra and obviously last week, run away with that win. So, we got to come in. We see this as a danger game to us. We got to turn up and, put a repeat performance in what we did last week.
All right, well, thanks for coming in tonight. Go home. Make sure you do everything that your wife says because it's very true. Happy wife, happy life, all right?
I'll keep that in mind, sir.
All right, Greg Inglis there. We'll be back in a little while. I sit down. Well, it's a different one this week. It's not one-on-one, it's one-on-three, but three entertaining men in Steve Kerrod and Kevin Walters.
You can tell everybody, go ahead and tell everybody, I'm the man,